Most people think the main reason they fail is a lack of time, talent, or opportunity. But according to Steven Pressfield, the real enemy is something far more subtle and far more dangerous. He calls it resistance. Resistance is not a person. It's not the economy. It's not your family. It's the invisible force inside you that stops you from doing the work you know you were meant to do. You've felt it before. You have a goal, a dream, or a creative project. At first, you feel excited. You imagine how great it will be when it's done. You can see the finished product in your mind. But then, something strange happens. You hesitate. You decide to start tomorrow. You tell yourself you need more preparation. Suddenly, a week passes, then a month, then a year. That's resistance at work. Resistance comes in many disguises. Sometimes it looks like procrastination. Sometimes it feels like fear of failure. Other times it's perfectionism, the voice telling you your work isn't good enough yet, so you should just keep refining it forever. Resistance can even take the form of success, convincing you to slow down after you achieve a small victory, Pressfield says. Resistance is strongest when the task in front of you is most important to your personal growth. That's why it's easier to binge-watch a show than to write your first chapter. It's easier to scroll social media than to go to the gym. It's easier to clean your desk than to launch your business. Resistance doesn't fight against meaningless tasks. It only appears when the work truly matters. So how do we defeat it? Pressfield's answer is simple, but not easy. Turn pro. Turning pro means you treat your work as a profession, not a hobby. A professional shows up every single day, whether they feel like it or not. They work through bad moods, through fear, through self-doubt. They don't wait for inspiration. They don't need perfect conditions. They do the work because it's their job, their calling, their duty. Think about a plumber. If a plumber only worked when they felt inspired, no one's sink would ever get fixed. Or think about an athlete. Professional basketball player doesn't skip practice just because they're not in the mood. They show up every day. Rain or shine, tired or energized. The same is true for your creative or professional work. When you turn pro, you stop asking yourself, "Do I feel ready?" Instead, you say, "It's time to work." You stop identifying as someone who wants to do the work and start identifying as someone who does the work. One of the most powerful ideas in the book is that fear is actually a compass. If something scares you deeply, if the thought of doing it makes your stomach turn, it's probably exactly what you should be doing. That fear is resistance's alarm system, warning you that you're about to step into territory that could change your life. The bigger the fear, the bigger the potential reward. But resistance doesn't just whisper. It argues. It tells you, you're not good enough. It convinces you you're too old, too young, too busy, too broke. It tells you other people are more talented. It warns that people will laugh at you or reject you. And sometimes, the cruelest lie of all, that you have plenty of time. One of resistance's favorite tricks is rationalization. It's not procrastination in the obvious sense. It's the voice that says, "I'm not avoiding my novel. I just need to do more research." Or, "I can't start my business until I finish another course." These sound reasonable, even responsible. But deep down, you know the truth. It's still resistance. The antidote is action. Start before you're ready. Start without the perfect plan. Start without knowing every detail. You can fix and improve as you go. But until you start, you're stuck in the same loop. Giving resistance the power to control your life, Pressfield draws a powerful distinction between two mindsets, hierarchies and territories. In a hierarchy, your value depends on your rank compared to others. You work for approval, for likes, for recognition. This makes you vulnerable because if people don't approve, you stop. But in a territory, your worth comes from the work itself. A painter paints because painting is their territory. A writer writes because writing is their territory. When you work in your territory, you do the work for its own sake, not for applause. And here's the beautiful thing. When you commit to your territory, the rewards eventually come. You might get recognition, money, or success, but those are side effects, not the main goal. The main goal is to keep showing up and doing the work. The War of Art also talks about the muse, a mysterious force that rewards those who commit. You might think of it as inspiration, God, or the universe. Pressfield's belief is that the muse only visits those who have already sat down to work. The amateur waits for the muse to strike before starting. The pro starts working and trusts the muse to show up eventually. There's also an important warning. Resistance never goes away. It's not like you win once and you're free forever. It's a daily battle. Every morning when you wake up, resistance is waiting for you. The difference is that pros expect it. They don't see resistance as a sign they're on the wrong path. They see it as proof they're on the right one. If you've ever thought, I'll start when life calms down, Pressfield has news for you. Life will never calm down. There will always be chaos, problems, and distractions. Waiting for perfect conditions is another trap of resistance. The only right time to start is now. There's also a deeper responsibility in all this. Your talents, your ideas, your gifts. They're not just for you. They're meant to be shared. Someone out there needs exactly what you have to offer. If you hide it because of resistance, you're not just hurting yourself. You're depriving others of something that could inspire them, help them, or change their lives. So what does turning pro look like in real life? It might mean setting a fixed schedule for your creative work. It might mean working at the same desk every morning, even if you have nothing to write. It might mean finishing what you start instead of endlessly tweaking it. It definitely means working through boredom, frustration, and doubt. Imagine two writers. One only writes when they feel inspired. The other writes every day at 8 a.m. no matter what. Over time, the second writer produces far more work, and with more practice, their quality improves. The first writer might have bursts of brilliance, but they never build momentum. That's the difference between the amateur and the pro. Pressfield also talks about how resistance attacks in disguise. It might show up as over-preparing. It might show up as starting too many projects at once so you never have to finish one. It might even show up as helping other people with their dreams instead of focusing on your own. And when you do beat resistance for a day, it will come back tomorrow. That's why this is called the War of Art, not the battle, not the skirmish. It's a war fought daily. But the good news is, each day you win makes you stronger. Each day you show up builds self-respect. And over time, you become the kind of person who can be trusted to follow through. Pressfield's challenge to us is simple. Identify the work you were put here to do. And then do it every day, no matter what. Not for money, not for fame. Not for approval, but because it's who you are. If you're listening to this right now, you already know what that work is. It's the thing you've been avoiding. The thing you think about late at night. The thing you'll regret not doing. That's your territory. That's your war. And the only way to win is to start today. You might lose battles along the way. Some days, resistance will win. But as long as you keep coming back, as long as you keep showing up, you will win the war. And one day, you'll look back and realize that resistance didn't stop you. It shaped you into the person you were meant to be. So ask yourself, will you keep letting resistance run your life, or will you turn pro, pick up your tools, and do the work you were born to do? The choice is yours, and the time is now.